Hello everybody, thanks for joining me again. Well, today I'm going to talk a little bit about the APS-C camera system I use and why it's still my go-to camera after 6 years of taking photography a little bit more seriously and filming these YouTube vlogs. I'm not being sponsored, I just thought it might be a nice idea to share some of my experiences of using the system after this amount of time. As you can see, I'm outdoors. I really don't like filming videos in the office at home. Just doesn't have any soul. So I thought I'd come out onto Dartmoor today, and by doing so that might actually help me explain a little bit better some real-time experiences with the camera. So I'm currently using a Sony A6600, which I've been photographing with for about 4 years now. Before that I had an A6300, both very similar cameras. I also have a couple of other stills cameras. I have a Olympus EM10 Mark III, which is a micro four thirds camera, and I have a film camera. About 18 months ago a good friend of mine gifted me a Canon AE1 Program, which I'm really enjoying filming with and getting back to doing a little bit of developing myself. Anyway, let's talk a bit more about this one. So I started taking photography a little bit more seriously when COVID hit, and I'd always had a camera. Firstly, 35mm film cameras back in the early days, and then I'd always had at least a cheap compact, something like a Lumix, maybe something like 12 megapixels with me. But like a lot of people, I decided just to fill my time with something a little bit different and creative. So why APS-C cameras? Well, I had a couple of friends that were already very good photographers, and they suggested starting with an A6300, which was the sort of best at the time APS-C Sony camera, as a bit of a balance really between cost and specifications. Now the A6300 and now the A6600 that I have are very similar cameras, both similar sizes, the same 24 megapixel sensor, but there was a few features on the 6600 which made me swap. I've mentioned megapixels already twice, but this video is really not about delving really deeply into the specifications of each camera, but more, do they do the job that I want them to do, and are they still a very usable camera for me? Now, having said that, I think I ought to delve just into the sensor sizes. Now, obviously, as I said, this is an APS-C crop sensor camera. Now, what does that mean? So, what's called full frame is actually the equivalent of a 35mm old-fashioned film camera. Now, there's larger format ones, medium format and large format, and then below that is the APS-C cameras that come next, then micro four thirds, and then the smaller sensors that are usually found in drones, the camera I'm filming with, and mobile phones. So let's have a look at the sizes themselves. I thought this was quite a good illustration of the sensor sizes themselves. Second from the left there is a full frame camera, the equivalent to an old 35mm film camera, and as you can see the sensor is 35mm by 24, and then there's the APS-C next, which I'm using, which is approximately 24 by 16. And it's worth noting that some manufacturers have slightly different sizes. Now, regardless of sensor size, most cameras these days will take quite professional photographs. Now, obviously, the larger the sensor, the camera has to be built around it, so the larger the gear, the larger the sensor, you may have more megapixels, which may give you more detail. And the larger the sensor, they tend to give you better low light performance. However, let's have a look at this camera and what I've found in reality with my own photography. Well, in my opinion, the camera itself has a very, very functional look about it, but that I like. And being slightly smaller than the full frame it fits in my hand quite nicely. It has this flip up screen on the back. It's not fully articulated as some cameras are now, but I bought this one because it does this, just flips up so I can see myself when I'm vlogging. The other thing I like about this camera is the number of buttons that you can customize. There's these obvious 3 which I use for different focusing functions, and there's the back button which I use for manual focusing. Now on the dial at the top there's the movie setting and a slow and quick motion, and then 2 spare buttons, 1 and 2, which I've set up just for my manual settings and some sports settings. I've added a cold shoe to the side. With the flip up screen, I actually put the microphone on the side, and as you can see I've got a SmallRig L bracket which really fits the camera quite nicely. So what else have I got in the bag? I have a 70 to 350mm Sony G lens, which paired to the APS-C camera makes a really good wildlife lens. And then I have a 7 Artisans 60mm macro lens, and with the 16 to 55 on the camera, this makes a good trio to carry around every day. I do have one full frame lens already, which is the Sony 200-600, which matched up with this A6600 gives me a really good wildlife setup with a range or a reach of 900mm. So what's it like wandering around with all this gear? So the camera bag itself weighs roughly 7 to 8 kilos, and then if I add the 200 to 600mm lens, I normally swap it out with the 350 and the macro lens. And as I'm wandering around, I usually leave it on the tripod just for ease. And I've managed to take some really good photographs with the 200 to 600. This pied flycatcher, not quite in sharp focus, and probably all the way out at 600mm, but you can see you get a really nice bokeh blurred background. This one of the same bird, much sharper. I was sitting quietly with it on a tripod and switching between manual and auto focus. You can see the twigs around the bird here. But going back to APS-C, the 70 to 350mm lens is really usable. This shot I took handheld at Sharp Point on the South Devon coast. There's this stone chap sat on the top of this post. But also being quite a light lens, this one taken standing on the top of the headland at Berry Head in Brixham, it gives you that versatility to be able to pan quickly with the lens and catch shots like this of this Fulmer, and still with a nice bokeh behind. For those of you who are interested in the film capabilities of the camera, this was taken using the 200 to 600mm Sony lens, and I was really lucky to capture this footage of the dippers. So let's talk about cost. So you can pick up an A6600 now for maybe £600-700. That's just the body. If I went for the top of the range one, currently the A6700, that's around about £1,800. Now, I was toying with the idea of upgrading to full frame, so let's think about a Sony full frame camera. Now, a really good one like the A7R5 will be about £3,500 just for the body. And then of course lenses on top of that, because they're different lenses to the ones I currently have. So in all, if I was to upgrade and keep similar lenses, I'll probably end up spending twice the amount of money. So next, let's talk photographs. As I said at the beginning of the video, does the camera do what I want it to do? So each year I pick 12 of my best photographs. I don't make a calendar, but I do make a book for myself. So let's look back at those photographs and see what they teach me about the camera. Yes, and as I say, this is going to be more about how I use the camera and the quality of the photographs rather than the compositions. So out on Brixham Breakwater early one morning, just before the sun came up, I walked about the 20-minute walk from the house with the trilogy of lenses as I've discussed, and was able to get this panoramic shot with the 70-350mm. Then on a weekend break with some friends in the Wye Valley with the 16-55mm lens, just hand holding it, and this wasn't posed at all, just managed to capture the shot. Ideal having that camera in your hand all the time. And the same with this one. This is at Brixham Pirate Festival. Again, wandering around, this time with the 70-350mm lens on, but it's still quite a small compact lens, so you can walk around and capture these shots. Okay, Torbay Steam Fair happens in August every year, and there's always some characters here. Now this time I didn't take the APS-C camera, I had the Canon AE1 Program. Now I've included this photo because it just goes to prove that megapixels is not everything. This was taken on some Ilford FP4 black and white film, and this one really is more about the composition and the character, and got included in my favourite 12. And going back to the APS-C, the steam engines run out to Brixham in the evenings, so managed to go down to the Fish Quay and capture this shot again, 16-55mm lens, and still using the 70-350, again just proving the capability of a small wildlife lens like this. This is Boss, the male lion at Paignton Zoo, and with the same lens, this green dragon, I guess. Now with the lens all the way out at 350mm f8, you can see the background's completely blurred out and makes a really pleasing shot. Okay, on my travels now. Now we travelled to Vietnam and Hong Kong, and I took the 16-55 and the 70-350 with the APS-C camera and just a small sling bag. And it was ideal to wander around with this. Took several shots similar to this one, but as you can see there's lots of mopeds. This was in Saigon, and just having the small outfit meant I could wander around without much effort. So whilst in Hong Kong we travelled across on the Star Ferry to the Mongkok area on Kowloon, which is on the mainland part of Hong Kong. And this first shot was probably my favourite shot of the year at the time. I love this guy in his workshop, and it's just so interesting with all the stuff in his room. and this lady selling fish. If I had a larger outfit, I think I'd have been more conspicuous. I think she'd have been more self-conscious. But both the guy in the workshop and this lady selling fish were not bothered by the camera at all. Okay, a little bit different. So I have a macro lens, and I took this photo of this tiny mushroom and forgot to swap lenses. So this is actually taken with the 16-55. So you can see it has some macro capability as well, if you didn't want 3 lenses. So this one, again, just goes to prove you don't need an expensive camera with lots of megapixels. Back to the Canon AE1 film camera. Coming back from an evening out, this very lucky shot. I just pointed the camera and shot, and my wife meeting Will on the ferry, a shot I will remember. So in the end, am I happy with those 12 photographs? And in simple terms, yes. And am I using all the functions on the camera? No. So at the moment, I'm still able to get more out of the APS-C camera before I move on. So are there any limitations to this camera? Well, of course there are. Have I found them? Well, one that does bug me a little bit is when I'm filming the vlogs themselves. I film in 4K. Occasionally I do some slow motion stuff of the rivers and stuff, and I can't do that with this camera. This will only film slow motion in 1080p. Now, does that matter? Not really for YouTube. The quality of the video doesn't have to be that good, but you do notice it when you're trying to do some really good quality stuff. Especially, you know, you can imagine this bubbling brook coming down, all the specks of water coming up, and you get these lovely bright highlights. They look a little bit soft, a little bit blurred in slow motion with this camera. It'd be nice to have them really nice and sharp. The other thing I think is I have noticed a little bit of noise when I'm trying to take photographs in low light, but I don't do that often. And then lastly, I think with a full frame sensor, obviously larger sensor, maybe some more megapixels, that would allow me to crop in the images. Now, sometimes when I'm taking wildlife, the subject's too far away, and I then crop the image in, and then of course you start to see, or you start to lose the definition in the photograph. Now, that's really pushing this camera or any camera to its limits. Really, with better field craft, I could get closer, be a bit more patient. So, is it a limitation? Well, I don't know. Well, I hope you enjoyed my ramblings about the camera, and you can take something from the video. It's quite a nice day up here on Dartmoor now, and there's some nice light. I'm in a lovely location, so let's use the camera for what it's best at, taking photographs. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Cheerio.